It's the Best Damn Sports Show podcast with your hosts, Jason Cahill and Bernie Kim.
Thanks, Chuck D. Welcome to the Best Damn Sports Show podcast. I'm Jason Cahill.
And I'm Bernie.
Bernie, we have a great guest today.
I've never been more excited for a guest on the show.
This is a newsmaker.
Newsmaker.
Yes. So in the NFL this week, there was a story that came out, probably the most amazing story I think I've ever heard. It's almost unbelievable.
It is. I would not believe it. If we had this as a fact or fiction item on Best Damn, I would not believe it.
Exactly. So who we're talking about, we have Rudi Johnson coming on the podcast in a little bit. And if you haven't heard the story, Rudi Johnson signed by the Detroit Lions. He's meeting with Matt Millen. He comes out of the meeting. His bags are stolen, and surveillance cameras reveal that Tatum Bell, the man whose job he's just taken, has stolen his bags.
I love it. It's great. Drama. It's awesome.
So we're going to talk to Rudi Johnson. We'll ask him, of course, all about that. See if he's talked to Tatum Bell since that happened, and see if he's gotten his underwear back.
I'm excited.
Did you know that? He got the bags back, and there was no underwear.
No underwear. His undergarments had been stolen.
It's bad enough that the person took the $200, the credit cards, the ID, underwear.
Tighty whitey's gone. Or boxers. Who knows? Who knows?
I don't want to speculate on what Rudi
either.
Johnson's wearing, but so that's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that. Bernie, about 5 minutes ago, Michael Strahan was right outside the room in which we do our podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Walking down the hall. I shared perhaps the most awkward, uncomfortable hug I've ever had with another human being.
Now, what happened? You went for the shake and a hug?
Yeah, it started as the handshake, and then I kind of went in for the hug. And with my right hand, I let go of his hand and put it around his shoulder, but it didn't quite get around the shoulder. So then he's crushing my right hand while we're kind of hugging, and didn't work out so well.
What did he say? What was his reaction?
Well, he was nice enough not to have commented on the awkwardness of the hug, which I really am thankful for. But it was...
you kind of just let it slide? You didn't say a word of it?
I walked away from it not feeling so good about it.
Oh, yeah? Well, awkward situation.
Because it was like one of those cool moments, like, oh, there's Michael Strahan, and he's like, hey, what's up, Cahill? And you try to hug, and it didn't work out so well.
It's all right. You know, we've all been there.
But he remembered being on the podcast.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
He loves the podcast.
You know, sometimes I'm shocked if guys like Gary Payton or Eddie George, they'll mention the podcast, and I can't imagine they even remember doing the podcast. But
then we got a superstar like Strahan.
I should be more confident in our podcast. Strahan remembered.
This is a big-time podcast.
Yeah.
This is our show's best podcast.
I think we were the only interview he did after the Super Bowl when he was deciding whether or not...
Oh, yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, it was.
We were one of...
Maybe 1,000.
Yeah. But
That's
we got
okay.
him.
Only podcast to get him.
Only podcast to get him on speakerphone. How about that?
That's great.
Yeah. So, hey, we had a good week of guests on
Best Damn. Solid week of shows.
We had the lovely Kendra Wilkinson, one of the girls next door.
Very big sports
Bernie,
fan.
you produced that segment.
I did. She is shorter than I thought.
How tall did you think she'd be?
I don't know. Maybe like 5'7".
Okay.
But she was shorter. Anyway, she's a huge sports fan. I underestimated her sports fandom.
Yeah, she's a big Chargers fan.
Huge
right?
Chargers fan. And if you go to like her webpage or her MySpace page, it's just pictures of her with every single athlete you could think of. She's a huge sports fan.
Yeah,
and it's legit. It's not disingenuous. It's not like a front to be like, oh, I'm the sporty one of the group. She genuinely likes sports.
Well, sometimes we have celebrities on the show, and you do the pre-interview, and you realize that really they don't know much about sports, and if anything at all. Maybe they've been to a Super Bowl, or maybe they've been to a game or sang a national anthem, but sometimes the sports knowledge isn't so great, and you kind of have to, masquerade their sports knowledge during the segments. But yeah, she's a huge fan.
Easy to produce.
Yeah, absolutely. And another segment you produced this week was Larry Boa.
I wanted him to yell at me so bad, but when I greeted him, he was incredibly nice, very cordial, big smile. But man, I wanted to do something that he would just flip out at me.
Well, you should have pushed him or shoved him or something.
I should have done something.
Yeah.
I really wanted it. He was just too nice. Like you see Larry Bow on TV, he gets all riled up with the umpires. He's shaking his head, got crazy eyes going. And then I meet him, and he couldn't have been nice. Couldn't have been a nicer guy.
He hadn't been on the show for a while because he used to be Kruk's manager, and those two were close. And back when Kruk was on the show, we'd have Boa on every so often. He hasn't been here in years, and now that he's with the Dodgers, he came by in studio. So that was pretty cool. I'm assuming, by the way, that had you shoved or hit Larry Boa, you probably would have been fired.
I would have been I wouldn't have gotten fired because I would be dead.
We still would have had you on the podcast, though.
I would have been dead. I don't know. He would have killed me.
A couple of Dodgers were on the show this week, James Loney and Matt Kemp. Now, the great thing about these guys is, I don't know if you caught the segment. At the very end, as we're playing them out, the music is going to break. They start telling a story about how Chris Rose big-timed them.
Oh, boy.
At a Hooters pageant years ago, and I think they were all waiting online to get in some club, and Rose gets into the club, and the bouncer says, "Oh, do you know these guys?" And it's Loney and Kemp, and Rose like, "I don't know who those guys are." Gets in the club and leaves Loney and Kemp outside, like waving through the window.
What club leaves out Matt Kemp and James Loney and lets Chris? What is it, Hopscotch Club?
Well, first of all, I know you're a big baseball fan, but if James Loney walked into the podcast right now, would you?
That's true. I wouldn't necessarily know who
you
that
might
was.
not know who he was, but I thought that was pretty funny.
That's great.
And they did it right as we were going to break, so Rose didn't really have any. He couldn't even come back with anything. So I thought that was pretty good. And then, of course, we had Eric Burns and Mark Grace in studio because they're in town. The Diamondbacks are playing the Dodgers, and it's always good having those guys.
Those guys are fantastic.
Burnsy's great. Too bad his season prematurely ended, but
it's tough. Sometimes your body doesn't hold up. There's no
he
many
said
more.
By the way, he said the hamstring tore completely off. Yeah, it's off the bone.
That can't feel good. That can't be good.
Yeah, feel bad also for people that had them in their fantasy.
Yeah.
Leagues.
He stole 50 bases.
He's a fantasy baseball team killer this year, I guess.
Yeah, that's tough.
Hey, can we get right to?
Let's get to the guest.
Yeah, let's get right to the guest. He is the running back for the Detroit Lions, and missing some underwear. He is Rudi Johnson. Rudi, how are you?
What's going on? I'm good.
Not much. Hey, where are you right now? Where are you talking to us from?
I'm in the mall, man, in Detroit. How about that?
I imagine you're buying some new clothes, maybe?
Yeah, I gotta get some new underwear, and, new underwear and socks and tank tops and all that type of stuff, man.
Well, you know what? Let's we'll talk about football in a second, but let's get to that. Let's get to what is being referred to as, I guess, luggage-gate. So tell us exactly what happened. You're meeting with Matt Millen. You come out of that meeting. Take it from there.
I come out of the meeting. Let's see here, and it's about 7:30 p.m. So I'm coming to get my bags from the locker room, so I can go back to the hotel. I've been I was at the stadium since 6:45 in the morning. So a long day, a lot of work. We finally got the deal done. So now it's time for me to go back to the hotel. So I go back to get my bags. Bags nowhere to be found. I left them right downstairs in the locker room. At that time, we kind of figured maybe somebody had moved it so the janitors and stuff could clean the locker room. Just moved it out the way, maybe lock it up, put it in the interview room or in the equipment room, just moved it out the way so the people can clean. So at that time, everybody just looking for the bag. Now the bag still never came up, so, we just focused the rest of the attention on the next day. We said we'd just come back and see if we can find it Monday, because by that time, that time of night, everybody was pretty much gone except for the cleaning people. So, we just, left it alone that night and then came back the next day, still couldn't find it. And pretty much the whole organization was looking for the bag, and we all were, in the manhunt looking for the bag because, it's definitely a negative, negative thing, on the organization. They did a great job of trying to track it down and help me every way possible. So, just came back the next day. They had a security guy. He came and he checked the tapes. And there you have it.
So you saw those tapes, right? What do those tapes show you?
Just sort of walking out with the bags. You know what I mean? So, I knew who it was because I had spoken to the guy earlier, the day before. I spoke to him earlier before I went up to meet with Coach and met. So, I know they had on and everything. So it was just a situation, man, where, I don't know what the guy was thinking about, and the times matched up, I guess he got to notice that they were going in different directions around 6 o'clock. The tape had the surveillance cameras had the times on it. So I guess once I signed, he got word that they were going different direction. I guess he came back to the locker room, cleaned out his locker. And then from then on, he scooped my bags up on his way out the door.
Cleaned out his locker and your locker.
Yeah, man, so it's a crazy situation, man. It's one of the most bizarre situations, in the history of the NFL. You know, it's so bizarre, it's crazy, and it's funny all at the same time.
I agree with you on that one. Hey, so you eventually got the bags back, but there were certain items that were missing. What exactly was missing?
You know, I'm an underclothes man. I don't know what kind of guy steals another guy's underclothes, but, you know, all my boxers and my tank tops and my socks, you know what I mean? All that type of stuff was missing out the bag. But, you know, my credit cards and my ID and my little money, a couple $100 was missing out the bag. So, you know, one of those situations, man, he got away with a couple $100, but, you know, I canceled my credit cards, got another ID from Miami, so I'm good, man.
So Tatum did an interview the other day on the radio, and he said that he accidentally took your bags, and he doesn't know what happened to the money, he doesn't know what happened to the underwear, the credit cards. Do you believe him?
You know I don't believe that, man. I don't believe none of that, man. Because the main thing with me, like I told him, I'm not big on the say. You know, dealing with you know, with the female version, his version. You know, all I can go by is what I see on the surveillance tape, and that's him walking out the door with my bag.
So what was that conversation like?
You know, it's very heated from my standpoint. You know that.
Are you going to press charges?
No, I don't need the police for this one, man. You know what I mean? I can handle this one by myself, so I don't need to get no police involved in this situation here. You know, it's a small-time thing for me. So, you know, I deal with it and I keep it moving. But, you know, it just shows the kind of person he is, and, you know, you would think somebody would have more sense because, you know, playing in any team sport, that's the ultimate, you know, rule breaker right there is when you sit out the locker room, man. You know what I mean? So that's something you just don't do. You know, your teammates, they go out and they trust you to do a job each and every Sunday, each and every day in practice. If they can't trust you in the locker room, how they going to trust you to, you know, go out and put your best foot forward with helping your teammates out on game day? So, you know, that's the ultimate no-no, and that's like a rule you learn, you know, once you start playing football at a young age. Man, you never steal nothing from your teammates or inside the locker room.
Now, Rudy, you know, Tatum Bell listens to the Best Damn podcast all the time. I know he's going to be listening right now, so what do you have to say to Tatum Bell?
Yeah, he know what I said, so, you know what the situation is. I already said, like I said, I spoke to him on the phone, so, you know what I mean, this conversation ain't nothing new, so it is what it is. Well, you know, it's situations behind me now, but he know what I feel and how I feel about the situation. I spoke to him on the phone already after the situation happened, so it's nothing new that he don't already know.
All right, well, I hope you get your underwear back, and if you need to borrow a couple $100, I'm sure me and Bernie can help you out.
I'm sure you got me, man. If I need some, must need me some money if I need some. You got me?
I wear boxers, though, Rudy. I hope that's okay with you.
I got you, man.
Hey, so let's talk football. How are things going in Detroit? Are you comfortable yet with the offense?
Yeah, everything is good, man. So, you know, since I got here since Monday, I just been, you know, setting the playbook, you know, hard every day, you know, around the clock. All I've been doing is just in the playbook. And so far, you know, throughout practice, you know, I'm picking it up very well. So, you know, that's the main focus, man. You know, once I can do that, get the playbook down to where I can just go and just play football. Don't really have to react, you know, think too much, just go out there and play football. So that's the main thing. Once I'm able to do that, you know, I should be fine. But as far as the process and the transition, everything, you know, the teammates have been great. You know, it's a great atmosphere, and I'm looking forward to going on playing and being successful, you know, in 08.
How many carries do you think you're going to get this Sunday?
I'm not sure yet. You know, we have to wait and see. You know, it was a short week for me. You know, I got in, you know, I didn't start practicing until Wednesday, so it was a short week. But the coaches, they're feeling confident. You know, the main thing is giving them confidence that I know, you know, what I'm doing once I go in there. So the main thing, like I said, my job, you know, all this week is cramming that playbook in, man. So, like I said, once I go in, you know, go into the game, I can, you know, protect John. That's the main thing. Any runner can run. You know, that's part of the easy part, but, you know, it's the protections and the new, you know, terminology and new language that kind of get you off track. So, you know, for my situation, it's great because I played with in Cincinnati for a few years, so he definitely can help me out a lot.
Well, you know, let's talk about Cincinnati for a second. You know, what are your thoughts on how that all shook out? Do you still have any bitter feelings toward the team?
No, I mean, not at all. You know, I mean, it is what it is. You know, I think I said what I said last week. You know, once the situation presented itself, you know, that last Monday when they were trying to trade me, you kind of much knew the situation was going to end up. It was just a matter of time. So it was one of those things, man, where just, you know, I had a great career, had a great run in Cincinnati, made a lot of friends, made a lot of relationships, and now it's just time to move on. You know, it's on to bigger and better things, and my total focus now for 08 until is Detroit Lions. So, like I said, with Cincinnati, all the best of luck. They're going to need it, throughout this season, and we'll see what happens.
What was that Cincinnati locker room really like? I mean, from the outsider's perspective, it looked like a mess. I mean, so much talent, but then so many distractions with people in trouble with the law, like Chris Henry. Chad Johnson just seems like he's like a bit of a recluse. He works hard, but he just seems like he's a distraction. What was that locker room really like?
A little bit of what you just said, man. I guess, it's the same thing. I mean, definitely if you have distractions, I think it plays a part, as far as going about your everyday, in the workplace and putting it out on the field on Sundays. So, it's kind of different environment, man. Me being there for 8 years, that's the only place I've ever been. So to come here in Detroit and see how things are done a little bit differently, it's definitely a breath of fresh air. And I'm happy to have the opportunity to be here. So, the main thing is Cincinnati is definitely a different place. I would say most different place in the NFL, as far as from what I'm hearing and from what I'm experiencing, now here in Detroit. So, it's just, it was a different situation, man. I don't want to say nothing bad about the team or the organization, but, it was just different. And I think I can just leave it at that. I think you guys can kind of read through some things and see through some things, and y'all can probably get the answers yourself, man.
Hey, so Rudy, what'd you think about Chad changing his name to Chad Ochocinco?
Yeah, I talked to him about that a couple weeks ago. You know what I mean? So it was just a matter of time, man. Chad always trying to think of something. That's what he does. He likes to entertain, and this is just another thing that he does, man. So it's no big deal. It should be no surprise. He's having fun with it. So it's something he likes to do, and something he's entertaining you guys with. So wishing the best of luck. I know he's looking for a big check for marketing standpoint. So hopefully all that works out for him. And that's my boy. So whatever he decides to do, man, I got his back, man, regardless of what.
All right, well, Rudi Johnson, thank you so much for joining us on the Best Damn Podcast, and good luck this Sunday against the Falcons.
All right, man. Appreciate
Rudy,
it.
take care.
Thanks, Rudy.
Bye.
All right.
Wow, there you go, Bernie. Rudi Johnson.
Right from the horse's mouth.
I was a little nervous beforehand that maybe he'd kind of shy away from answering any of the questions about luggage-gate, but, boy, he dove right in.
I'd be upset, too, if someone stole my bags.
I would, too.
That's not a good form.
I don't know whether to believe Tatum Bell or not.
I do not believe him for a second. That's ridiculous. I mean, come on.
It doesn't look good.
Come on. I didn't know whose bags they were, so I took them some girls.
Well, the worst part, though, is okay, so he gets the bags back, and there's no money, there's no ID, there's no...
Underwear,
which is the worst.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, sorry, Tatum Bell. Hey, we got a great set of shows on Best Damn next week. Brooke Burns is going to be here in studio. Stacy Keebler is going to be in studio. And Olympian Alicia Sacramone is going to be here in studio.
I cannot wait to have her on.
Now, of course, we're going to ask her about the Olympics. But one other thing we're going to ask her about, if you go on YouTube and type in her name, there is about a 20-second clip in there of her punching in the face what looks like a college kid.
Yeah, I think she's like...
They're like at a fraternity party.
They're outside having a good time.
She punches some guy...
He lets her.
Yeah.
He's probably some cocky guy that, yeah, whatever, you can't hurt me, and she knocks him out.
A left hook.
It was solid. He is what a knucklehead.
So we gotta ask her about that. Hey, if you want to send us an email, it's bestdampodcast@yahoo.com. We'll read it on the air. We'll answer your questions. If you have any suggestions for any guests you want to hear on the podcast, definitely let us know. Boy, how are we going to top this week, though?
I don't know.
Rudi Johnson, thanks for joining us. Until then, I am Jason Cahill.
I'm Bernie.
And we'll see you next time.